Marysville Roundtable, a discussion on current events, sports, and entertainment.
The ballots are fairly full this year, and we're only about a month from heading to the voting booths to select our next leaders. I'm Gavin
And I'm Tyler Dimmick.
With Marysville City Clerk Rene Stoia. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So, there's a lot of people that we're voting for. What positions are they running for?
Well, there is quite a bit on the ballot this year. The Marysville School Board members, there are 8 candidates running for 4 openings. We have City Mayor, we have 2 candidates running for 1 opening, and Council, we have 4 candidates running for 3 openings. We have County Commissioner in our 4th district. We have Board of Trustees for the St. Clair County Community College. We have the State Governor and Lieutenant Governor. We have the Secretary of State. We have 3 different state proposals on the ballot, and we also have a city proposal for the purchase and sale of property for the city of Marysville. It's an amendment to change our city charter.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff that we can vote for this year. And in the past few years, the precincts have moved around here and there. Where are the precincts located this year?
Okay, we did change up, and we did move out of the schools. We used to be in a couple of the schools. However, now we've gone to all churches. So in the Masonic Temple, we have Precinct 1, which is at the Masonic Temple, located at 569 Michigan. We have Precinct 2, which is Pilgrim Lutheran Church, and they're located at 1023 Michigan. We have Precinct 3 at Gateway Church at 12346 6th Street. And then Precinct 4 is the Marysville Assembly of God Church at 12456 6th Street. Okay, and we also do an AV counting board, which is where we process our absentee ballots, and we do that at City Hall.
That's quite a few places, got options all around.
Sure.
So poll workers are needed at every site. Anyone interested, how many do they need at each site, and how do they get into this position?
Okay, so each precinct has to have a minimum of 3 workers. We normally schedule 5 to 6 workers. You have to have a minimum of 3 in your precinct at all times. Okay, and you have to have, the Election Commission is required to appoint at least 1 election inspector from each major political party. Okay, and the major political parties are the Republican and the Democratic parties. Okay, the workers, they perform polling preparation and checklist tasks to open the polls at 7 a.m. Okay, and upon opening the polls, they process voters, they assign voter numbers and issue a ballot. They assist with processing the absentee ballots if they are processed in the precincts. Upon closing the polls at 8 o'clock, they perform poll closing tasks like record keeping, verification, and other wrap-up things at the end of the night. They sign all required books, tally sheets, and certifications that go on bags that deliver things back to the city clerk. And they do transport and submit required records, supplies, and equipment. They maintain accurate records during the voting process, like the applications to vote, the voter ballots, the absentee ballots, the spoiled, duplicate, and other ballots.
Wow, there's certainly a lot of roles that go into this. And there's definitely some citizens that show interest in wanting to work with these polls. How do you recruit these people?
Okay, citizens that are interested in working elections, they can inquire at their local clerk's office. Election workers, they tend to recruit other family members or friends, which is very helpful to us. It's also out on the Marysville website with an application and what's required, okay? Election workers, they do need to fill out an application, and then they do have to have county training before they can work at an election.
Like the typical way of voting is in person. Has there been any changes in the past few years, and like has your job changed like at all because of like COVID and other things that have happened in the past few years?
Election laws are continually changing every day. There's changes and, yeah, it's just, there is a lot to keep up with. While voting in person is the traditional way, absentee voting is becoming more prominent. It's more convenient. It's for people that have a hard time getting out to the polls, and it does create more front-end work in the clerk's office. However, it is becoming more prominent. We also have registered citizens that are outside of the country, for instance, like your military people or just U.S. citizens that are living outside of the country but still registered in Marysville. So they can also vote. They have to fill out an FPC form. They return that to the clerk's office, and then they can receive their ballot online. And then they have special instructions to get it back to the city hall.
Well, there's definitely a lot of laws and things that go into this. And with mail-in voting, it's still new for some people. Does the old absentee voting and the mail voting rules, do they differentiate from each other? And if so, how?
Okay, well, due to the passage of the statewide ballot proposal 18.3, all eligible and registered voters in Michigan, they can now request an absentee ballot without providing a reason, and they can also go on the permanent list. So there are, like I said, there are a lot more people that are voting absentee at this time.
So with like a lot of people are voting like the absentee. So like if somebody watching like wants to do a mail-in ballot, how do they do so?
Okay, voters, they can complete an online application at michigan.gov/vote. They can submit an application, a letter or a postcard to their local clerk. And requests for absent voter ballots, may be returned by hand, postal mail. The absentee applications can be returned by hand, postal mail, fax, or email, as long as the signature is visible, okay? Once your request is received by the clerk, your signature on the request will be checked against your voter registration record, and then at that time, a ballot is issued.
Definitely a lot that goes into that. And there's a lot of people each year wanting to vote. And for the new people, how do they register to vote?
Okay, eligible voters, they may register at their local clerk's office, the office of the county clerk, a Secretary of State branch office, by mail or online at michigan.gov voter registration. Okay, they have to be registered prior to the election. However, there is same-day registration for new voters, and that's you can register 14 days prior to the election and up to and on the day of the election at your local clerk's office, but you do have to have proof of residency, and it has to be a 30-day proof of residency. And then you can also vote either absentee or go to your precinct on election day.
It's definitely very useful for all the young voters. So in the past elections, I've noticed that there's some volunteers that are out in the parking lots. Is there any restrictions for them who are like trying to like support their candidates or whatever? Like, do they have to stay a distance away or?
Yeah. Any vehicles that are bearing campaign signs or bumper stickers must be parked at least 100 feet away from the entrance to the building. So anyone that's out there campaigning for their candidates, they do have to have that distance of 100 feet. They are not allowed to like solicit voters as they're entering the polling place. And also our election workers, if anyone enters the polling place that has any like candidates' names or election information on, if they're wearing it or a hat or anything like that, then the election worker has to ask them to remove it or cover it up.
And at the end of the evening, there's definitely a lot of votes to tally up. How do you guys tabulate all the votes up, and who do you report to?
Okay. The voters actually insert their ballot into the image cast precinct. It's called an ICP tabulator. The ICP tabulator processes and counts all of the votes on the ballot. Okay, at the end of the night, we run a totals tape from that tabulator, which is delivered to the clerk's office. And the tabulator also has memory cards in it, sealed memory cards, which counts everything and records everything. Those memory cards come out at the end of the night, and those memory cards go up to the county clerk.
Voting is still a cornerstone to our democracy. We encourage everyone to take the time to participate. This has been very great information, Mrs. Stoia. Be sure to join us again next time on M6, your hometown station.
Marysville Roundtable, a discussion on current events, sports, and entertainment.